Welcome to episode 6. We left the last fortnight at a little wheat belt town called Nungarran, where we stayed for most of the fortnight, specifically at the Nungarran Heritage Machinery and Army Museum, where we did some voluntary work, and you'll see the results of that shortly. After we left there, we made our way to where we are now in Monkey Mire. Stinking hot here at the minute. But you'll see Monkey Mire in the next episode, not in this one. We first left Nungarran and went to Morrowa. That was a drive of about 390 kilometres. From there we went to Geraldton via Mullewa, which is about 204 kilometres, and we left there and came here to Monkey Mire. That was a drive of 424 kilometres. So this fortnight, the distance from Nungarran to here is about 1,013 kilometres, and for the trip so far 4,057 kilometres. Okay, well, while I've got this vest on, I'll show you where we're going and what we're doing. So the start of this fortnight we were down here, and we worked our way up to Shark Bay, which is about there. Next week or the week after we'll work our way up to Exmouth, and then we'll spend a bit of time just tootling along the coast, going inland every now and again, work our way around here by about the end of May, beginning of June. Then we'll cut across Kimberley, around here, probably into Darwin and Northern Territory now, into Kakadu, and we'll come down, we'll work our way across, we'll come up to the coast again, we'll go down, we'll work our way back to the coast again, and we're in Queensland now, work our way across here to Cairns and Port Douglas, go up the coast, down a little way. Probably don't have time to go much further south than that, Swap Hangs, because it's in the way. Probably won't have time to go down into New South Wales and Victoria, because we want to go through the centre, so we'll work our way back along here, come down through the centre to Adelaide, bit of time in South Australia, lovely coast there apparently, and then we'll come back along the Nullarbor into WA, and then back home by the end of this year, December or January, we'll be back at home.
Welcome to this week. We have mostly been watching, and that is a cultural reference to the Fast Show, for those of you, including me, who've got no idea. So this is just a quick segment about what we've been watching. You might think we've been out on the road and we've got no time to watch telly of any sort whatsoever, but there are times when we just need to get in the caravan, put the aircon on, sit down and watch something, and we've done that fairly regularly. So this week, 2 shows really stand out for us. One is Stella, which I think there are about 6 series of it, and we've watched 2 of them I think to date. That's really funny. And we have binge watched the remake of All Creatures Great and Small, which we watched the first series and the Christmas special in a few days. It's lovely. That's what we've been watching.
The answer to the quiz question that we set last time, the movie that we watched when it was a bit rainy, was Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and my brother Richard was the only one who actually posted a comment. So well done, Richard, for identifying that terrible movie. The quiz question for, and this will be a regular thing, the quiz question for this fortnight, we have watched a film, and all I want is the title of the film, and the clue is it has Gladiator and Rob Morgan in it, and they get to where they're going thanks to Pippin. So in the comments write down the name of that movie that we watched, and we'll announce the person who gets that right in the next episode. on Eaglestone Rock, which is in the Shire of Nungarran. We've come out here quite early to try and avoid the heat. There's no way we could do this without fly nets. They are everywhere, you can probably hear them. Anyway, we've got a, what's it called, this? Lake Campion?
I thought it was Lake Brown, but the sign says Lake Campion.
Yeah. The sun's going to be bleaching out a lot of this image, but it's a large lake. The white bits will be salt, so there's still some fresh water in it, and it actually stretches all the way around there as well, past those other rocks over there. Yeah, Eaglestone Rock. So a couple of months ago we saw an advert online placed by the museum in Nungarran asking for volunteers at the museum. Travellers like us, grey nomads, whoever, caravanners, people to go and park up at the back of their museum. They could hook up to power, there was water, there were showers and toilets we could use, the kitchen facilities, in exchange for a few hours a day of help in the museum, with a whole range of jobs that people could do. We turned up, and for the first few days we helped a couple who were there already doing some cataloguing. They have loads and loads of things there that have kind of been donated by local people. Some stuff related to their time in the services, some agricultural stuff, and then other just loads and loads of social history things that have just been sort of piled up and nobody's gone through them to see what they've got. So this other couple had started a Herculean task of going through all this stuff and cataloguing it and putting some things on display. We helped them with that for a little while. When they left, we were given a job of our own. We talked about what we could do, and the people at the museum decided they really needed an introductory video, something to show visitors when they come through the door, rather than have to explain the same thing over and over to people. So they asked us to produce a video. So we did that. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and what we'll show you now is the result of that. We also took some other footage which we didn't make it, but I'll show you some of that as well afterwards. So so this is the video we produced for the museum.
Welcome to the Nungarran Heritage Machinery and Army Museum. After the Second World War started, the Defence Department believed that they needed a supply depot somewhere inland if we were ever attacked from Carnarvon around to about Esperance, that they could resupply the troops with. This supply depot had to meet a couple of vital criteria. It had to be able to be far enough inland so carrier-based aircraft couldn't get in here and back again. Also, it had to be able to be supplied by rail and road from all the ports in Western Australia, plus from over east. Nungarran was chosen to be the site of the supply depot. They started building the camp here early in 1942. It took them 18 months to build at the cost of a bit over £10 million. The camp itself went over 620 odd acres. On the plan here, the blue dot is the shed that we are situated in. There was another identical shed about 100 metres to the west, which was for instruments and carpentry. There was another two sheds that were for artillery. There was another shed which was called the Tank Hull Workshop, which was the only all-steel building in the camp, and it was all steel because it had a 30-tonne gantry crane in it to be able to pick a General Grant tank up off a railway wagon and take it inside. And the rest of the sheds on the plan were mainly stores depot, which were all hooked to the railway line. At the completion of building the camp, there was between 1,200 and 1,600 personnel stationed here, of which 400 roughly of those were women, who were mainly drivers, because there was half a dozen trucks or cars going to Perth or Northam each day, shifting personnel around and bringing and taking supplies. The paddock to the west of the back road was resumed from the Herbert family when they built the camp. That's where the majority of the stores depot were. The only thing out there now is just some big brick walls in the middle of the paddock. They were the firewalls in the middle of the supply depots. Across the road behind the wheat bin was called Vehicle Park, and the southern bit of that is all cleared land now, which there's a roaded catchment that supplies water to the town dam. From about 1944, they thought that the Japanese were going to invade, so there was a bit over 100 tanks stationed here with another roughly 2,000 personnel. And they were all kept over in that section called Vehicle Park. Under camouflage, you can still make out in the bush the gravel roads, and the little squares that are on the map are where they had tanks or armoured cars or artillery under camouflage. You will see the men's barracks are the small ones down this end, and the women were down the southwest corner of the army camp. Of course, we were never invaded or anything like that, so after the Second World War finished, they had their first sale in Nungarran in 1947, and they sold off all of the tanks and armoured cars and a lot of trucks. The tanks and Bren gun carriers and so forth were mainly bought by local farmers to use for tractors, because everyone was geared up for the war effort and no one was making tractors at the time. It was a working army camp up till 1960, and then from 60 to about February in 1962, there was just a skeleton crew left here to get everything organised for the last sale. At the last sale, they sold everything in the camp, the buildings, etc. And the only reason the shed that we're in at the moment, which was the vehicle workshop, survived is because the Shire bought it for their works depot. The museum opened in 1994. The Shire gave us 1/3 of the building roughly at the time. Over the last 20 odd years, we have collected a lot more equipment and artefacts, and with the help of Royalties for Regions money about 5 years ago, the Shire built a new depot right in the corner of the old Army precinct along Danberrin Road and gave us the use of the rest of the building. I would like to thank you very much for coming to our museum. I hope that you have enjoyed the experience. We are always on the lookout for volunteers, so if you have any spare time at all from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, please come and have a chat to someone, and I'm sure we can fit you in and find a job that meets your skill level. Thank you very much.
Geraldton at the moment, so you might not be able to hear us very clearly. Coffee and cake this fortnight. We've been to 5 places. We went to just blowing the phone out, man. What was it called? The Poppy or something? Wild Poppy and Cafe 56 and Dimensions all in Meriden. And then in Geraldton we went to AJ's Beach Cafe and Sensors Cafe. So 5 places, and they were all really good for coffee. We didn't have a bad cup of coffee, I don't think, this time. But the winner, probably because the view is the nicest view is AJ's Beach Cafe here in Geraldton. In fact, we've just been there for a third time about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, the coffee, nice and strong. The foam and the froth sort of stayed there the whole way down. So really nice. So drinking strong coffee through a nice creamy froth. You can't get any better than that. So yeah, definitely AJ's Beach Cafe in Geraldton for coffee. Food?
Dimensions in Meriden.
Meriden, not Meredith.
Oh, Meriden, yeah.
Yeah.
Dimensions in Meriden, or homemade on